Jericho Good morning. Thank you. Last autumn, when the terrorist attack hit Paris and we lost one of our own, Noemi Gonzalez, we were supposed to have begun singing Christmas music for our Winter Festival concert, and it didn't feel right. So I passed out this new piece that was written last year, and we just sight read it. And it moved us so much that we kept it in our repertoire all year long. And I just wanted to let you know that this is a new piece of music by a composer named Jake Runestad. It's called Let My Love Be Heard. And it's the choir's hope that this will be the goal of all of us in this extraordinary community we call California State University, Long Beach, in 2016, 2017. So this is Let My Love Be Heard.
Good morning and welcome to the 2016 annual Convocation. That incredible performance was from our very own Bob Cole Conservatory Chamber Choir, singing their award-winning set from the finals of the Choir of the World competition in Wales this summer. I want to thank Dr. Jonathan Talberg, Director of Choral, Vocal and Opera Studies in the Bob Cole Conservatory of Music, and his students for that beautiful celebration of music and culture. Please join me once more in congratulating them on winning the coveted Choir of the World Pavarotti Trophy. One of the many reasons I wanted to come to this campus was the opportunity to work with so many smart, talented, dedicated people. I would like to take a moment to recognize some of them. First, our extraordinary vice presidents. New to the team this year is Min Yao, our Chief Information Officer, who comes to us from UC San Diego. I would like all the vice presidents to stand so that we can give them a round of applause. I also want to acknowledge our academic affairs senior staff who provide incredible leadership and support and have made my transition to campus so much easier. Our academic deans, whose talent and commitment has helped make CSULB one of the most popular campuses in the nation. This year, we welcome Monica Lounsbury, our new Dean of the College of Health and Human Services, who comes to us from UNLV in this summer. And let's all give every one of those a round of applause. And now probably the most hardworking group of people on this campus, our wonderful department chairs who do one of the most challenging jobs on the campus. Please join me in a round of applause for the chairs. We have outstanding student government leaders with ASI President Marvin Flores and the entire executive team. I'd like to ask them all to stand. And thank you for joining me in recognizing our student leadership. In addition, I would like to recognize the following campus leaders: Tim Whitaker and Dave Costita, stewards of the State Employees Trade Council; Dora Apodaca, Chief Steward of Academic Professionals of California; Kathleen Hansen, CSULB Alumni Association President; and Norbert Schurer, Chair of the Academic Senate. We will hear from him later. Also, Doug Domingo Forasti, President of the California Faculty Association; on behalf of the university, I offer thanks to each and all of you for your commitment to the success of our students and this campus. We also have the honor of hosting a delegation of 17 faculty members from Hebei Normal University in China with us today. Please join me in welcoming them to the beach. Thank you. It is now my privilege and honor to introduce a special group of students who are here with us this morning. Each year, we carefully select a small number of students to be admitted to our campus as recipients of the President's Scholarship. Our scholarships program has an enviable history. building on the most recognized scholars program in the state of California and one of the most distinguished such programs in the nation. This year, we began a new tradition of marrying this prestigious scholarship with the academic rigor of our university honors program. Our highest achieving scholars are now nurtured in an academic program designed to maximize their many talents. We welcome 36 new scholars to our Beach family. I ask them to stand, and will you please join me in a round of applause for these exceptional new scholars. Also with us this morning are the parents and family members of these high-achieving students. Parents and family members, would you please stand and be recognized? Before I move on, let me say how grateful the university is to our Alumni Association, President's Associates, individual donors, and the Division of Student Affairs for their invaluable support to the President's scholarships. The success of this mission would not be possible without you all. Thank you. Congratulations and welcome, scholars. I wish each of you and all our students in the class of 2020 every success at CSULB. Now, I would like to introduce Marvin Flores, our ASI president. Marvin. Marvin has been involved in ASI since he came to campus 3 years ago. As a senator for the past 2 years, he has worked to establish a free motorized scooter rental program where students with temporary physical disabilities can rent motorized scooters to easily get around our large campus, a first-of-its-kind program in California. He has aided in the acquisition of a new student life and development advisor and worked to create the first campus-wide parking survey. Marvin is also a member of EOP, the Men's Success Initiative, Leadership Academy, and the Sigma Chi fraternity. He is majoring in history and hopes to teach social studies in secondary and higher education. We are very fortunate to have him serving as ASI president this year. Marvin.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And thank you again for the introduction, Provost. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So once again, my name is Marvin Flores. I'm a fourth-year history major pursuing a career in teaching, and my emphasis goes to U.S. and world history. And this year, I will be serving as your 2016-2017 Associate Students Incorporated ASI President. It is an honor and privilege to be standing here today, and I would like to begin by welcoming all of our faculty, staff, new and returning students, and to all of our honorable guests standing with us today. So welcome again. Thank you for being here. I would also like to give an especially big thank you to Provost Jersky and President Connolly for inviting me to speak here today, so thank you again. As a student leader here on campus, I'm always impressed by the value and importance this campus puts on the voices of students, and I'm proud to play a part in our flagship shared governance process. This year, my team and I have a lot planned, from launching the new ASI food pantry, aimed to making sure no student goes hungry. To an enhanced focus on sustainability in all of our facilities, including our recycling center and the student union, to working to create more scholarships for students in need. But today, I would like to take this opportunity to talk about the value of teaching. As a firstborn son of Mexican immigrants and the first in my family to go to college, I didn't know what to expect when I first got here. All I would hear is, college will be the best years of your life. But when I arrived and I was confronted with the traffic on the 22, walking long distances between the SSPA and the library building, and those forever expensive textbooks, I couldn't put a finger on why anyone would ever say that. Like many first-generation students before me, it was a tough transition, but what most helped me understand that I could succeed despite these obstacles was the help and support I received from my professors. Support professors are the reason I and countless other students have been able to grow and excel our time here. To paraphrase one of the greatest educators of all time, Sir Isaac Newton, if we are able to see further than others around us, it is only by standing on the shoulders of giants before us, and that applies as much to knowledge as it does to how to be a good educator. Last year, I was in a class where most students wait until the week before a 15-page paper was due to start a thesis, me included. As I waited outside the professor's door, history professor, Dr. Sean Smith to be more specific, with 6 other students before me, we all noticed that his hours were coming to a close. When his hours were officially over, he took a peek outside, chuckled a bit, and then sat back in his seat. Dr. Smith met with each and every student that day before leaving his office. I've had the fortunate opportunity to have taken courses with professors that do that every single time they see a student that needs help. Professors like Dr. Smith make me proud to go to his university and say with certainty that our professors are here to fight for our success. So thank you again. This year, I encourage all faculty and staff to reach out to me and all of us in ASI to sign up to get involved with our new ASI food pantry, to tell their students about ways they can get involved by encouraging them to visit us at asiCSULB.org, to visit us in person by coming to the Student Government Office in USU 311, and to let us know what you and your students need to be more successful. I'm excited to work with you and the year ahead, and as always, go Beach.
Thank you for those wonderful remarks, Marvin. We are truly fortunate that our faculty go the extra mile for our students. It's part of what makes the beach so special. And now I am pleased to introduce one of our outstanding faculty members. A professor in the English department, Norbert Schurer has taught classes on literary criticism and research, 18th century British literature, and on major authors like Jane Austen and J.R.R. Tolkien. He has been a member of the Academic Senate since 2008 and a member of the Senate Executive Committee since 2014. He served as Vice Chair last year, and this year he is our Academic Senate Chair. Norbert was a member of the Provost Search Committee, and I was among the first people I met when I was interviewing for this job. It became clear to me very quickly that he's very passionate about our students and this university. We even had a brief debate about poetry at that time. And now, Norbert.
Thanks, Provost Jursky, for that generous introduction, and welcome to campus as well. Welcome everyone to the academic year 2016-17. I hope you're all looking forward to an exciting new semester, whether you're students starting your university career here at CSULB or returning to complete your degree like some of our choir students, whether you're a new faculty member still finding your way around campus, or an experienced professor coming back from your research. Or whether you're a staff member or administrator who's been working hard over the summer to have campus ready for the new semester. Across our country, this fall will be exciting in a way that will probably not be very pleasant. We seem to be gearing up for the most divisive presidential campaign ever. Fortunately, I believe we here at CSULB will be able to resist this divisiveness because we've always been a campus that works together to solve problems and improve the lives of our students, faculty, staff, and administrators, and our community on and off campus. This spirit of collaboration and cooperation is embodied structurally and institutionally in our academic senate, where CSULB's 4 main constituencies, faculty, students, staff, administration, are democratically represented, develop policies, and talk to each other on a regular basis. Our conversations sometimes get heated in the academic senate, but they are still usually productive because we are all passionate about a common goal for our university, which is to give our students the best opportunities possible. For the few minutes I have here today, I would like to talk about some of these opportunities. For one, of course, we all want to give our students an education that will give them the opportunity to find a good and well-paying job. We have excellent programs from teacher preparation to nursing that prepare students for important professions that we need in the state of California. So if you consider job training our primary goal here, you're in the right place. At the same time, we want our students to find a career that they are passionate about and that they find meaningful, a vocation as well as a profession. We understand the need to make a living and we support that goal, but we think there's more than one way to reach that goal. We hope that students are not just looking for, and faculty, staff, and administration not just promoting, the job with the highest salary or the most reliable employment, and we hope that students can imagine a future where they are excited to go to work every day as we are. In perhaps more idealistic terms, we want students to be happy in what they do after they graduate from CSULB. In the same vein, we hope our students take the opportunity to contribute to our civil society here in Long Beach, in LA County, California, the US, and the world. I mentioned the divisiveness of the presidential election, and like I said, I believe the best antidote is communication across differences. As faculty, staff, administrators, we need to model that kind of interaction so that our students become members of an educated citizenry that is excited about participating in our society and economy, not just as workers, but as volunteers, community organizers, sports fans, museum patrons, concerned parents, and yes, even as politicians. Finally, I sincerely hope that we can create an environment here at CSULB in material as well as ideological terms that allows our students to take the opportunity to explore their education as much as possible. As you may know, the state of California and the Board of Trustees of the CSU system are pushing students more and more to graduate as quickly as possible to enter the workforce. We as faculty, staff, and administrators are feeling that pressure as well, and here at CSULB, we're actually doing a fine job of graduating our students faster and faster. However, I would urge all of us, please, to consider whether there might sometimes be a trade-off between the speed of education and the opportunities a student can explore. I think we should also encourage questions like, are you really sure you're passionate about your major? Have you always thought you might like to learn more about art history, or how to build a bridge, or economic systems, or the Lord of the Rings, or the mysteries of statistics? Do you want to spend some time in a foreign culture to get a perspective on your own? What do you know about the ethnic history and diversity of our own state of California? Would it perhaps make sense to take one class less in any given semester to give you more time to study for your other classes that semester? The more our students can explore these kinds of opportunities, I would argue, the more excited they'll be about what they settle on, the better they'll be at it, and the more they'll know and understand people who have made different choices. Thank you. All of these and more opportunities we can offer here at CSULB when classes start on Monday. So let's prepare our students for specific careers, help them figure out what it takes to make them happy, challenge them to contribute to society, and embolden them to explore the university and the world around them. Have a great 2016-17 and go Beach.
Thank you, Norbert, for those exceptionally interesting remarks. Why the laughter? Just over 24 centuries ago, Plato opened the doors of his academy in a sacred grove of olive trees just north of Athens. We are the inheritors here of that long tradition, and I think it is worth looking back as well as looking around and looking forward. Indeed, if one wants to encapsulate the intellectual ambition of a university, it might be expressed in precisely those terms. We celebrate the past, examine the present, and shape the future. One of the things that comes to my mind as I think back on Plato is the fact that he chose a sacred grove, and ask if that was by chance or by design. Of course, we know that the grove was sacred to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and so it must have been by design, for that is what he sought in his academy, and that is what we seek here, wisdom. Nowadays, we associate the word sacred more with its religious meaning than its general meaning, but I think the general meaning is highly valued or important. So it seems, if we look at our deep underlying mission over the 24 centuries that have passed since that opening day, we seek wisdom in the sacred groves of academe. Of course, much has changed over the long centuries. For a start, I suspect that parking was easier in Athens. Seriously, though, as I step up to my task as your new provost, I want, with your help and under Jane's leadership, to engage in a serious academic discussion of our purposes and goals. We have all heard of Jane's capsule slogan, inclusive excellence, and I think it is worth spending a little time unpacking this phrase to see how it fits our thoughts about our mission. As we just heard from Norbert and Marvin, we at Long Beach have been justifiably proud of our inclusive mission to the people of our region and state. Similarly, we have been justifiably proud of our devotion to excellence, which we might label arete, in a further nod to the Greeks. My predecessor, Dave Dowell, who I would like to thank publicly today, has achieved nationally significant progress in expanding our diversity and our success with the students we have, and I am pleased to let you know that I intend to continue his focus on this crucial aspect of our mission. In addition, though, and I speak as a statistician, data alone are not the end we seek. They are the means for us to understand better and more deeply the areas we succeed in and the areas we fail in, not so that we can gloat or be miserable, respectively, but so that we can expand our successes and correct our failures. I am convinced that Long Beach has the capacity in terms of its staff, faculty, and students to make this arduous ascent to the next level of academic achievement. There is a caveat, though, and it is a large one. Our training as academics makes us critical, and to be honest, can tend to make us narrow. Both of these skills or traits are perfectly fine in their place. However, when we are on a voyage of change, we need sometimes to suspend disbelief and see a very much wider horizon than we are used to seeing. After all, the received wisdom of the day made most advanced thinkers believe that Columbus would sail off the edge of the flat world. So much for science as a guide. On the other hand, when Columbus arrived unexpectedly in North America, his treatment of the people and cultures he found there made a mockery of the ethics and morals of the advanced thinkers of his culture. So much for philosophy or religion as a guide. We can go on in this academic and comfortably critical way, but I think we must not in this case. To make changes, and I mean positive changes, we must be realistic but hopeful. We must be resistant to fads but open to innovations, and we must have a reservoir of adventure in our hearts, for it is a grand adventure that we are engaged in as human beings. A brief moment of consciousness in the vast, freezing darkness of the universe is all we have, as far as we know, and yet how much we have learned, will change. I invite you all to engage in this voyage, which can be difficult, long, and dotted with failures. in order that future generations of academics will look at us and our achievements and see the light that we kindled and the impetus we gave to our common development as human beings. Perhaps my message so far is a little unusual, but I hope you are intellectually engaged, or even puzzled, or violently against, but at least not apathetic. A university is either a place of intellectual engagement and passion, or else it is a somewhat shabby holding pen for students, and we perhaps are almost like jailers. Of course, we are not the latter here at the beach, though it's always helpful to keep in all of our minds how we can sound and feel to others. I know, for example, that perhaps the whole point of a bureaucracy is to find more and more ways to say no to more and more people about more and more things. But every time we say yes, every time we can say yes, we cut some of those unnecessary ropes that bind us and free us to dream and imagine something better and different. Please take note that I am not advocating revolution. But you will find that my style is to work with you to find out how we can make something happen together in the future, even if we don't have the resources, the time, the energy, or the permission to do that something now. If you have attended or watched previous convocations, you know that it is traditional to highlight the amazing achievements of the past year, and I would be neglecting my duty as Provost if I did not extol some of the virtues of the campus. It is truly an embarrassment of riches that I have to choose from in every area of the campus and for every group of people here. Please forgive me in advance for taking what is only a very small, but I hope representative, sample of the amazing things that happen here. If I did not take such a sample, we would be here all day. We had the largest graduating class in our history in 2015-16 with more than 10,000 degrees awarded. We received a record-breaking number of applications for this academic year, about 60,000 first-time freshmen and just under 30,000 transfer students applied. A record number of 945 students studied abroad in 38 countries, a 9% increase from a year ago and a 38% increase from 2012-13 when we pledged to double participation in study abroad. The faculty have led a significant increase in total expenditures on sponsored research, and last year, $33 million came to the campus in this way. Not only does this benefit the faculty, but also many students. Academic Affairs was delighted to invest $2.2 million in RISCA funding. I intend to continue and perhaps expand this investment. You may be interested to learn that the campus has a new Office of Undergraduate Research to bolster and support students and faculty in this key activity. Our faculty are, in one word, stellar, and we have welcomed 62 new tenure-track faculty to campus this fall. Another 6 faculty will join us either in the spring or in the fall of next year. We have also welcomed many new lecturers to add to our intellectual heft. I take this opportunity of welcoming all of you to the beach and look forward to productive, happy, and long relationships with all of you. Talking of high-impact practices, approximately 3,000 students enrolled in service learning courses last year, performing almost 30,000 hours of service within our communities. Our students bring home awards across the entire spectrum of university life, from research, the highest number of awards from the system-wide research competition in May, music, the Choir of the World Award, so richly deserved as we just heard. Athletics, 59 beach student athletes earned academic all-conference honors. Entrepreneurship, with events such as the TEDx conference and more. I'm proud of the fact that Long Beach was one of the 43 institutions selected nationwide by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities to participate in a national project reimagining the first year, RFY, and that is aimed at ensuring success for all students, particularly those traditionally underserved by higher education. Long Beach was nationally recognized by the Education Trust as having been one of the most successful four-year public institutions at reducing opportunity gaps. We still have a long way to go. The colleges themselves are overflowing with achievements, and I can only skate over the surface of all of these as I mention in passing the following: a top 5 ranking in animation and game design, new graduate programs in accountancy and supply chain management, a large Bechtel grant to expand practice-based training for teachers, the Beach's first hackathon, but hopefully not the last, and a new program in biomedical engineering. National leadership by our own Dr. Rashida Crutchfield in CHHS, addressing the housing and food security needs of students. CSULB is a top Fulbright Scholar producer nationally, including recently a very competitive award to Sheffield University in the UK, where Dr. Alexander Klein will conduct research into William James, the experimental psychologist. There are new partnerships, including one between CSULB and the Catalina Island Conservancy in relation to science and other resource management. The opening of a vast new student-focused space on the 5th floor of our library, thanks to a generous donation from a donor. In addition, and I could go on, but I won't, 3 impressive individual research accomplishments by Dr. Stephen Mezek from Chemistry and Biochemistry, Dr. Chris Lowe, Biological Sciences, and Dr. Hugh Wilford from History. And last but not least, our students Min Min Ho from Biology and Brittany Dawes from Chemistry, who received the Outstanding Graduate and Undergraduate Student Research Awards, respectively. Let me repeat that this is only a tiny fraction of the things I could boast about. Please give these achievements and all the others I do not have time to mention a stirring round of applause. Thank you. What about the future? In my abbreviated 6-week exposure to the beach, I see incredible opportunity. We must, however, ride the wave carefully and professionally. If I mention that the political situation nationally and internationally is cloudy, I would probably be accused of being over-optimistic. This is an occupational hazard of provosts, or should be. This political situation will undoubtedly affect the atmosphere and climate on our campus. It is important for all of us to think of the propositions on the ballot that are local and the national election and vote according to our interests as an academic community. As guardians of academic freedom, we will defend our students, staff, and faculty members' right to free expression and active engagement in the key issues of the day. We also stand for respectful and intelligent engagement. We know that the outside world is full of almost unbearable pain, injury, hurtfulness, and violence. And while we look at these with the full attention such grave matters deserve, we choose not to reproduce these on our campus. The President's call to us to engage in dialogue and discussion about the recent Ethnic Studies Task Force is an example of how we can make progress on campus, even when the outside world appears dark. The financial state of the university and of academic affairs is sound, and I am cautiously optimistic that we can continue to operate at our current capacity. If we wish to make changes or improvements, there are really only two options. We can increase our revenues or reduce our expenditures. Since most of our revenue comes from the state or from students, those are essentially outside our institutional control. However, I'm heartened by the new commitment by the Chancellor's Office and the CSU system and the California Faculty Association to work together for political effectiveness in Sacramento to make our case there. I look forward to playing a key role in that team effort. Of course, we also hope that the faculty's continued research efforts pay dividends and that the deans and others, including my continued efforts in fundraising bear fruit. Any additional resources in any area will be welcome, unless, of course, there are strings attached that preclude our engagement. Again, this is a team effort. If we need to look at expenses, we can make either intelligent or foolish decisions. Intelligent decisions are, of course, the way we should go, and we have tremendous skills and depth of knowledge on our campus to enable us to analyze which activities we might look at and which directions we should go. This is another area where data are essential. I will naturally look to the Academic Senate for partnership in this and many other areas. To end my remarks, I would like you to recall the old Roman method of expanding their empire, divide et impera, divide and conquer. It is a very good way to maintain and expand power, and other empires have used it too, notably the British Empire. My experience as a South African has taught me many things, however, and one of them is that unity is strength. If we divide ourselves into faculty versus administrators, tenured and tenure track versus lecturers, students versus instructors, Long Beach versus the Chancellor's Office, us versus them, we will be weaker and we will achieve less. It takes leadership to overcome our natural tendency to group ourselves into factions, and great leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Abraham Lincoln have shown us that we can transcend these differences while maintaining our own individual and group identities. I look forward to a transformative year with you all. I wish you all great happiness, success, joy, and delight in the year ahead, and to celebrating all the many and varied achievements of this great university with you. Go Beach! And now the moment we've all been waiting for. I would like to introduce someone with a true heart for this campus and the Long Beach community. Someone who is committed to making the beach the best place to work and learn. President Jane Connolly is dedicated to providing a welcoming campus climate for all students, faculty, staff, and alumni. She values the unique insights and enthusiasm that students bring to educational experiences, and she recognizes that diversity adds excellence to our community and is fundamental to our continuing success. She makes herself available to individuals from across campus and is truly interested in their thoughts, opinions, and ideas. She is equally engaged with our local community and regional and national leaders. We are very fortunate indeed to have her leading our university. It's my great privilege to welcome President Jane Close Connolly.
Well, thank you for that very generous introduction, Brian. I appreciate it. Let me add my welcome to all the welcomes we've done before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We do that really well. But I do want to mention that Dr. Kali Conley is here. He's on sabbatical this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, and I hope you will see more of him as well. So thank you, Brian, for reminding us in such an elegant way of many last year's achievements and giving us an inspiring view of what's to come. And we'll have to look for that sacred grove. I'm sure there's one right here on campus that we can use. I really hope you'll all take a moment to appreciate the work you've done and give yourselves a collective pat on the back. It's well deserved. And how about that beach's own choir of the world? Can you believe that? Can you believe them? I hope you all noticed that the dragon, they call it the dragon trophy that was on that side of the stage. It's very heavy, but they take turns. Each choir member brings it home and takes care of it each night, and then they're going to bring it to every performance is their commitment. And you know, they're just one aspect, as Brian so aptly said, of exceptional performance by our students, guided by our stellar faculty. So again, welcome new faculty, continuing faculty, staff who are here. Got a chance to talk to some staff. I remind us that we have many people to thank for our beautiful campus. It's a great place to work and to learn. And really, our campus is part of what makes us so special. The activity this summer on large projects to upgrade and enhance the environment have been obvious, but sometimes we overlook the daily effort it takes to create and maintain the campus. I extend a special thank you to each of you, our landscapers, our groundskeepers, our skilled technicians, everybody who keeps the lights on. As they notice, we sometimes notice them only when something goes wrong. So let's notice them when something is going right, because we do have a safe and fabulous campus that we get to enjoy every day. In terms of upgrades, I hope you've noticed the good news that we have on the other side of campus, a kind of reconfigured parking lot. You'll notice some changes in Lot 7 along 7th Street. I understand that we've added 152 new parking spaces. Yay. I was hoping I could ask for a moratorium on mentioning parking for a year, but apparently we have something else to talk about, so we'll just go the way we go. So following that really 2 years of research and planning, moving on to another good thing that's happening in dialogue. We are now officially a smoke, tobacco, and vapor-free campus. We all know that kicking or minimizing an addiction is very hard. So let's be supportive of one another as we make this important transition for everyone's health. You can check out our Breathe website for additional information and support services. And many thanks to faculty members Claire Garrido Ortega and Natalie Whitehouse Capuano. She there? I can't see you, so I can't tell. They co-chaired the Breathe Task Force, which was made up of staff, faculty, and students. We've had the advantage of the latest research on this huge public health issue, because of their very passionate leadership. Good for all of us. Now, speaking of public health, on a different dimension, starting this semester, we will work to decrease the number of injuries to pedestrians on campus by being a little bit more insistent about keeping bikes and skateboards off pedestrian walkways. Yeah. While bikes and skateboards are excellent alternative means of transportation, go beach on that, we need to keep them in the many places on campus where they are allowed so pedestrians can have safe spaces to work. Already well described by Professor Schur, we have a new challenge from the governor that the provost also mentioned, and I'll talk about frequently over the next years. By 2025, I believe, our 4-year graduation rate must grow to 39%. It is currently at 15%, and our average enroll time is about 5 years. Provost Jersky has already modeled this change and assures me that it is achievable with support from across campus and is not a threat to quality. But all things, both things are true, that we can have an environment that allows our students to explore, find, lives that they are happy with and passionate about, And we can avoid being obstacles to their success. We can have a fully funded course schedule. We can have an increased summer schedules. We can do intercession. We can do things to help those students who are on a 4-year pathway to succeed. So I think that working and planning on this will improve our processes for the other 61% of our students. I believe it's a challenge. The challenge is good for students and good for our region and state. We are in desperate need of highly educated Californians, and we can be part of making that happen for more students through this collective effort. And in order to help us reach that target of 39% by 2025, we're honored to be part of that national initiative you've also heard about, Reimagining the First Year, through the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. We are one of 6 CSU campuses chosen to establish partnerships and work together with the Division of Academic Affairs and Division of Student Affairs on our campus, collaborating to ensure that our students are not only enrolling, but they are persisting and thriving through their first year and beyond. I attended the Division of Student Affairs kickoff day, and everybody should attend their kickoff day. It's a lot more fun than some of the other kickoff days that we have. There was singing, there was dancing, there were slides, there were costumes. It was fabulous. So their theme is Get on Board Flight 2020, a creative example of the work they will do over the next 4 years to establish the division as a leader across, certainly a leader here on campus, but really across the country. Their motto, lead, learn, love. And one of their central goals is connecting and re-engaging with students. I encourage each of you in the room today to connect and reconnect with students that you serve. Come out of your offices or stay in your offices, as Marvin described. Reach out and connect with students, those who work on campus, faculty, staff, and other students. That kind of engagement is a surefire way, not only that we reach a goal of 39%, but our other goals are met as well, and our students experience the joys and the support of an engaged campus. Finally, let me give a special shout out to our student athletes and their coaches who had wonderful successes on and off the field last year and are poised to excel this year as well. I hope you'll attend some of the competitions of your favorite sports this year. It's fun and it's a great way to get to know each other outside the usual work environment. You know, we have Big West champions, but also our club sports did very well. You may not know that our rugby team was 6-0. How do you like that? I got to see my first rugby competition just because we have a rugby team. It was great. In addition to our achievements and exciting new challenges, this year was not without its tensions and tragedies. In November 2015, we lost our beloved industrial design student, Noemi Gonzalez. This horrific event reminded us that violent disparities between and among religious, ethnic, political, and economic groups could touch us from a continent away in profound ways. Later in the year, terror struck closer to home in San Bernardino as innocents were sacrificed to an ideology twisted by hatred and separation rather than love and inclusion. As we began the summer, we were shaken again by the mass murder of young men and women in Florida, based apparently only on their sexual orientation. Some in our community were connected directly with victims of these tragedies, and we all mourned the premature and terrifying passage of each victim, whether we knew them or not. Of course, the impacts on our industrial design department and our LGBTQ+ communities have been especially profound. And finally, high-profile violence involving especially men of color as both victims and perpetrators continues to occur, ripping families and communities apart. The repercussions are experienced on our campus, even as we strive to honor each and every life in equitable and caring ways, while being cognizant of the disproportionate burden of violence shouldered by our communities of color. How do we react to tragedies and triumphs? I think by keeping our campus moving in positive directions for each member of the community. The news reminds us every day about distrust and vengeance in our nation and our world. It is against this dark backdrop that we must make our campus a shining light by celebrating what's best about us and countering the distrust and vengeance with inclusion and love. And we must do it together. As I pondered my convocation remarks, it became clear that the overarching focus of the years to come is our mandate as the California State University to offer everyone in our community opportunity through unequaled access, excellence through transformative educational experiences, and success in academic program completion, powerful connections to one another, and to the next stages of work or study. All of this can be summed up by the term inclusive excellence. And I will be returning to this topic throughout the year, and will be asking you to explore with me how we can create environments that foster opportunity, excellence, and success for every member of the beach community. This will take significant work, but the rewards will be worth the effort. I have come to realize that getting our students into the university, our sincere commitment to opportunity and access, is rather an empty accomplishment if those from lower socioeconomic groups encounter oppressive barriers and do not persist or graduate at the same rates as those from more affluent zip codes. That is, diversity in and of itself does not equal inclusion, especially when we consider the intersectionalities of LGBTQ+, religion, culture, age, different abilities, political perspectives, and so on, that make us a truly diverse community. Many, many students at the beach are experiencing high-impact transformational educational practices. Professor Schur mentioned those earlier, and certainly I have just a few up there on that slide. Thank you, faculty and staff, for making this, for the work you do to make this happen. I see the redesigning of first-year experience as an important step toward increasing quality, as well as the many course redesign projects, faculty international-led trips, summer and school year opportunities for undergraduate research with our faculty, student club advising, the programs supported by student affairs professionals, and so on. All these with the goal of increasing student success. Access to transformational educational experiences predicts success long after graduation. That being said, if we offer engaging high-impact experiences to some, but not all, we risk extending the inequitable context present in our society into the campus environment. Our campus must stand not as a reflection of the injustices of income inequality, discrimination, and exclusion, but as a beacon of what is possible when thoughtful, equitable people work together to give everyone a fair shot at success. This is a rather magical time of close relationships among our university, the city, many thanks to the mayor for that, human service agencies, industry, and businesses. Despite this, we still have work to do to connect our students, our faculty, and our staff with teaching, learning, research, and service opportunities offered in the greater community. We cannot succeed without building partnerships with our region because we depend on our community in unprecedented ways as state funding continues to stagnate. At the same time, we have much to contribute to our community through our research and collaborative work. This is something I think a lot about, and later in the semester I will invite you to a conversation where I share my thoughts on a related topic that bears our attention, the prospects for public higher education in California and beyond if we do nothing to diversify our funding sources. Inclusive excellence describes an environment that meets the learning and personal growth needs of every member of a community with equity and purpose. While that might sound rather pie in the sky, I'm convinced we have actually been creating such an environment, but without the label. And that local, national, and international events pressure us to become even more intentional and committed to the goal. We have, for example, increased our diversity across all dimensions, while dramatically improving graduation rates for every group. Our student body is both at its most diverse and most talented. Our staff is very diverse at about 57%, and our faculty diversity has improved from about 28% to 33% over the past 5 years. We have more to do, but we're building on a positive foundation, so thank you for that. With support from Student Affairs Division last academic year, I met with our student cultural organizations. I hope I met with them all, but I'm not sure I did. These are great organizations that engage and inspire our students to work for social justice and their own personal development. I worried that the unrest sweeping university campuses across the nation related to violence toward people of color could threaten our students' success. I left those meetings with the conviction that we need to make our commitment to inclusive excellence more public and active. We must collectively name it and live it as a natural extension of our concerns for access, transformation, and success for our entire community. By the spring, some unrest did occur on campus following a number of local events that shook students' feelings of security, all with an overlay of the intersectionalities of ethnicity, citizenship status, religious expression, or sexual identity. Because of the great work done by students, and especially by students, and our Student Affairs Division professionals, we are working tirelessly and collaboratively to rebuild trust. Special shout out to Vice President Carmen for the tireless thousands of hours she has devoted to our students in this regard. Again, our diversity is not proof of our inclusiveness. If we listen to and learn about each other, we will value and respect the wide-ranging contributions that each member of our university brings to advance our goals. In doing so, I think we take a giant step toward extending our knowledge of issues that affect our university, our nation, and world from multiple perspectives. Working together, we will succeed. How do we accelerate our growth toward inclusive excellence? Reading about the experience of other universities, it is clear there's no silver bullet or set of pat answers and strategies. We must build on our unique strengths, mitigate our organizational attitudes and practices that threaten success, and be accountable to all in our community for equitable, not necessarily equal, opportunities. And I do mean all, faculty, staff, and students. Our laser focus is rightly toward our students. But we must commit to the success of our entire community, because that's really what inclusiveness means. That is, we must learn about barriers to optimal success that faculty, staff, and students face, and have a commitment to create an enabling environment for all. Let's look at access. We are vibrantly diverse, but not yet representative of our region. Are we working effectively to give an equitable chance for high school students from every ethnic and economic group a fair shot at admission? Our 90,000 applicants are a mark of pride, but also a threat to access. The Long Beach College Promise mitigates that threat somewhat, but a close examination of evidence from our partner school districts across our larger region illustrates disproportionate rates of A to G course completion, foundational element of getting in to the beach, and math and English readiness by economic groups. This is an American tragedy, not just a regional tragedy, with long-lasting repercussions on the health and well-being of our region and our country. We must accelerate our work to create pathways to our university that are open to all. We have the tools, but we need to put even more focus, I think, on our Long Beach College Promise, Math Collaborative, Equal Opportunity programs, Ministers Alliance, Upward Bound, Summer Bridge programs, learning communities, and intrusive advising. And we must continue to develop innovative and wide-reaching programs as need becomes evident. I see, by the way, the expansion of our university honors program as one example of this effort. Analogously, we must stay vigilant about our hiring practices for faculty and staff to be sure we are reaching fabulous individuals from groups underrepresented in higher education. As I've said, we've made some progress, but we still have ways to go. While more work is necessary, we should celebrate the fact that we were named by the Education Trust as only one of 52 U.S. universities that has both increased graduation rates for all groups on campus while shrinking the opportunity gap between white and black students. You deserve a round of applause for that exceptional achievement. By the way, speaking of inclusive excellence, special thanks to our interpreters who are, I'm particularly aware of my New York rate of talking with them standing next to me, so sorry. Can we use our whole campus and greater community to ensure inclusiveness? One new resource that I commend to all of you is the final report of the CSU Systems Task Force on the Advancement of Ethnic Studies. A careful reading illustrates the importance of a purposeful educational environment that equips students to be successful in a multicultural world. We are advantaged at CSULB with expert leadership and scholarship across our ethnic studies professors. We certainly look to them for consultation. We are also rich with resources in many of our other departments, divisions, and partners in the community. Our progress will depend on this entire village of well-intentioned and active participants. A hallmark of inclusive excellence is the personal commitment of every community member to the goal. It's not the work of one particular group of administrators, faculty, staff, or students. In line with both the recommendations from the Advancement of Ethnic Studies Task Force report and my own commitments, I have let you know that I am seeking consultation about membership on a President's Commission for Inclusive Excellence. My intention is to involve a large number of students in this effort, as well as faculty and staff from every corner of the university. Thanks in advance for the advice you will offer me and for your participation as we take on the task of understanding ourselves, others, and our organizations. This understanding must include the many dimensions that perpetuate inequitable contexts in our community. This is a challenge that will take hard work and will take a long time, but as President Obama has charged us, we have to, as a country, sit down and just grind it out and solve these problems. So while we can control perhaps only our own actions within our own context, we must recognize that we are all connected. We all lack some privilege while owning other aspects of privilege. Our histories are generally unknown to one another, and that may lead to a lack of understanding of the paths each of us traveled to arrive at our current status. This makes it easy to stereotype one another as haves or have-nots. It makes it easy to believe the struggle belongs to just one group versus another group. From what I can see, this is never the case. The numerous intersectionalities that create our identities put each of us, if we are willing to live with attention, into a variety of struggles. These struggles will exist on our campus, but don't have to be against one another. We can together identify inequitable conditions and make them right. Let's take former President George W. Bush's comments to heart. See how inclusive I am? To heart as we speak to one another. Argument turns too easily into animosity. Disagreement escalates too quickly into dehumanization. Too often we judge other groups by their worst examples while judging ourselves by their best intentions. Words to think about. And we're smart, we're motivated, we can emerge as national leaders, and we really have no choice. Business as usual is no longer an option. The struggle to build an environment of inclusive excellence is a foundation for our future success in educating California. We may hit some bumps in the road as we move forward, but a shared commitment to justice will predict success. I promise, my personal promise, I'm not asking you to do it, in the words of Vice President Joe Biden, quoting his dad, never explain, never complain, just get up. I will work all day, every day to facilitate our recognition and live reality as a national model of inclusive excellence in U.S. higher education. I count on your partnerships. Go Beach!
Thank you, Jane. I think that speech was a great example of the kind of inspirational leadership that drew me, and no doubt many of you, to this university. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing to work for an inspiring and intellectual and deep leader with passion for the thing that we all look for, educating our students for the future. Thank you again. And that concludes this year's Convocation. Welcome again. Thank you all for attending. And for the last time today, go Beach.